והנה לפי האמס, עבודת המחשבה צריכה להתחיל מלמטה למעלה. מתחילה יתהה את הגופו, ואז מחשבתו ממילא תתהה ותתחזק. And really, in truth, the way we should do this is purify our bodies first, and then through purifying our body, automatically our minds will become pure. That's how it really should be. As we've said, there are 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. The spiritual is the center for the mental is the center for everything. So the whole avoda of our life is to become mental masters. The whole avoda of our life is to be able to control, clear, use our minds, sharpen our minds. But it says really we need to start with our bodies. Because if you're still watching stuff that you shouldn't be watching, you're not even really in the game. If you're still smoking, you're not even in the game at that point. If you're still overeating is terribly bad for you. Even good food, you eat too much of it, terribly bad for you. Eating the wrong things, sugar, lots of white sugar, not good for you. And other physical vices and cravings that you are filling, it means you haven't even got on the boat yet. So in Judaism we have 2 types of avoda, tools. One of them is called lo ta'aseh, and one is called aseh. There are mitzvahs, lo ta'aseh, which is don't do those things. Shamor, guard yourself from doing those things. And then there are mitzvahs, aseh, which means do these things. Zachor, on Shabbat we say shamor v'zachor. Shamor means don't break Shabbos. So don't do anything wrong. Zachor means remember Shabbos, do things. What's more important, shamor or zachor? What are there more of? Mitzvahs of don't do or mitzvahs of do? How many? 365. Leaving how many mitzvahs? 248. Kamachia, Abraham. So there are more don't do's. Now, what's more important? As you said, they're both very important, but if you're messing up the relationship all the time, then there's no relationship to build on. I think we gave this example before. If my wife says to me, I don't want you to leave your socks lying around, and I don't want you to leave dirty plates in that, and I don't want you to come home from late work, but I do want to go for a walk in the park with you, I do want a foot massage. If I'm leaving my socks lying around and not doing the dishes, and coming home late, then she doesn't want the massage now. She's like, all the walking in the park and the massage is at least based on the fact that you're not breaking the relationship. Don't mess up the relationship. Otherwise there's nothing. Now if the relationship is only don't ruin it, that's also not good. From, okay, I'm not doing anything to ruin it, then we have to have the aseh. Okay, so what am I doing to invest in it and make it better and better? So really, shamor is much more fundamental than zachor. Guarding is more important than remembering, but of course you need both. So, to even start being in the real game of true spirituality, you've got to make sure you are purifying your guf first. This is what he said. Back in the day, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, they used to roll around in the snow and fast, lots and lots of fasting, anything they could to tame the physical drive. Hey, how you doing?
From last summer?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's my brother.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's it. My brother too.
Does he guy here at the beginning of this month, and he gave a fiery dvar in Shabbos, and his tagline that stuck with me. I almost don't remember the rest of the dvar, but he said, "If you guard Shabbat, Shabbat will guard you."
If you guard Shabbat, Shabbat will guard you. There you go. If you guard your eyes and your bris, these are the main things, and very hard for people like you. Guard your eye. If you can't guard your eyes and your bris, then to even start talking about true spirituality, you're not even in the game. So you've got to do what you can, and it's very hard. It's not terrible. It's very hard. But your eyes, I think you can definitely guard your eyes now. Or you have to look at that woman. Do you? I don't think you have to. You just look away. But don't be all weird. Don't be like, "Arr!" But you don't have to go out of your way to look at someone. I think you can guard your, and definitely not to watch something. Come on, by now. What are you? You're all over 20. Watching stuff you shouldn't watch. That's for 15-year-olds. You're not a 15-year-old anymore. You surely just don't press the button. Just don't do that. I'd rather cut my finger off than press that. Like, you should have a knife waiting. Just for, I can't control myself. Cut it off. Save yourself. You should have pencils ready. If your eye just... There's an amazing midrash, one of my favorite midrashim. Maybe I shouldn't say this on live.
If this is going on YouTube, I think you need a disclosure for the cutting the finger off.
Okay, I didn't mean that. There's a midrash that there's a man, he was the biggest tzaddik ever, and he basically guarded his eyes very well. But the Satan said to Hashem, you know what, he hasn't been really tested. Let's see if he can survive a real test. So the Satan dressed up as the most stunning woman to ever walk the face of the earth. Don't imagine this. I shouldn't have been told this story. You're like, ooh. She came up and he was learning and he just was like, and he literally got pencils and stabbed his eyes out. Did that, I respect that. Some people might find that midrash a bit weird. I love it. I like, brilliant. And then the angel Raphael, the healing angel, said to Hashem, come on, that's not fair. Can I go and heal him? So Hashem says, yeah, he passed the test. So Raphael comes down to him and says, I'm going to heal you. And he says, I don't want to be, I'm fine now. Raphael says, no, you need to learn Torah. He goes, I know it all by heart. I know it off by heart. I don't need my head. And he goes, it's a whole thing. And eventually he says, look, as long as you promise me that I will never have any test ever again, then you can give me my eyes back. So Raphael says, yeah, okay. So he gave him his eyes back. Cool. You shouldn't try something like this at home. But just don't press the button. And don't be flipping through TikTok and stuff. That just can't be good. It can't be good. Even a second, and you're like, oh, it's imprinting on your consciousness. Another imprint, another imprint, another imprint. So how are you then going to speak words of Torah to Hashem? So the first step, he says, originally, he's not going to go and change this, by the way, but he says, really the way it should be done is, you should be completely pure in body. We said you have thought, speech, and action. At least make your actions be fitting. Act in a fitting way. Talking yesterday about swearing, curse words. You don't need those anymore. You're here now, it's fine. So there's one guy came up to me in Australia, no less. He said, but Rabbi, like every sentence I say a curse word. That's how I speak. And it's not that bad. And there's scientific evidence that if you use a curse word, you might be able to make your point strong enough. And I said, did you enjoy my class just now? And he goes, yeah, it was like the most unbelievable thing I heard, and God and consciousness. I said, did I say one curse word? And he was like, no. If you need to say a curse word to make your point, it means you don't have a strong point. I have to emphasize my point, but you're effing, yeah. It means you don't have a strong point. You should be able to say your point without curse words. So curse words you don't need. And definitely by now, you are not putting other people down. You're not putting them down. I spoke to this group yesterday. the Sephardi boys, they're great. I love them. And I said to them, I give you a challenge. You're here for 1 more week. Don't say anything not nice to each other for a week until the end of the trip. And they were like, but what are we going to say then? What are we going to say? How? If I don't put someone down, if I don't roast someone, I got nothing to say to them. They say, how about saying something nice? So I saw them about an hour later, and lots of them came up and said, half of us said, we already failed. So crazy. And they're like, come on, Rabbi, don't be so extreme, just a bit of banter. And I said, if you don't like it being done to you, don't do it to other people. So you have to purify yourself as much as you can. And I think you guys are doing great. I think you guys are doing very, very well. I don't know. I leave here at about 5:30. I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens after 5:30, but I think you're doing very well. You're trying. You're putting in the effort. But he says that's the best way to do. However, nowadays we're a bit weaker than they used to be. Back in the day, they used to fast a lot and roll in snow and cool stuff like that, which I still kind of respect that stuff. My taekwondo master used to get, those kicking pads? And we had to just stand there like that and it just like smack us. Bam, 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 bam. You just had to stand there like, it was like conditioning. I was like, okay, bam, bam. But that makes you strong. Conditioning makes you strong. But we're weak nowadays, we can't handle that. So he says, כשמתחילתה את עבודתו בגופו, לזככו ולקדשו, זו לזו לא יעלת בידו. If you start with trying to completely purify your physical being, you won't succeed, and then you'll give up, and your thoughts won't succeed either. So we shouldn't try to do that fully, but I think you can to some extent. Just have a bit of self-control. I think you're doing very well. It's not going to help us do anything. So this is why nowadays we're going to start with our thoughts, and this is why our book is called Bnei Machshava Tova. Good thoughts. Oy machshavos tovos. Ay 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 ay. Diborim tovim. Ay ay la 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 la. Kshma kein hi. Just like its name, so is what we're doing. Lechazek v'legalot machshava tova banu. You just have to reveal and hold fast to a good thought. That's it. Just walk around all day with a good thought. Now I want us to actually do this. The one I'm doing, I have a mindfulness Cheburah at the moment, and we're walking around, and we're just saying the words, Yesh Bnei Olam. What does that mean? There's a creator of the world. Yesh Bnei Olam. Yesh Bnei Olam. Yesh Bnei Olam. How many times do you think you could say that today? Yesh Bnei Olam. The more the better. Yesh Bnei Olam. Yesh Bnei Olam. There's a creator of the world. Yesh Bnei Olam. Yesh Bnei Olam. Yesh Bnei Olam. I made up 2 nigunim. Do you hear them? Yesh Bnei Olam. 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 Imagine dancing around in a circle for 3 hours, just saying that. Do 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 do. Chazak. The other one is a slower. I won't sing it to you. But one thought. So Bilvavi, my Rebbe, he says you should take the simplest possible thought you can possibly get. Oh, can someone get? Do you know where the Bilvavi is? By Akiva's desk. Bilvavi Mishkan Evne, the greatest sefer ever written.
That's the best one?
Yeah.
I thought not very much.
After this. This is the foundation and the root of all of our avoda. Liyased benafsho pnima, to establish within your inner being, shahanefesh tachush b'chol ed v'chol sha'a mamish sheyesh bayre la'olam, that your soul should sense, tachush, palpable, you should feel it, tachush b'chol ed v'chol sha'a, at every moment, mamish sheyesh bayre la'olam, that really, actually, there is a creator of the universe. You should feel. Do you feel that? Do you walk around feeling, oh my goodness, there's a creator of the universe? Lo rag yeda sichli greda, not just an intellectual knowing. I know who here knows there's a God? I do. But do you know there's a God? Do you know it? Do you feel it? Is it a reality? I know it as a piece of information. Or is it a reality? That the whole form of your being should be saturated with this knowing. I know it. And the whole life of you should be living with this palpable, conscious, simple, basic awareness that there is a creator of the universe. Throughout the whole day, throughout the whole day, a person has to walk around with the most simple thought, that there is a creator of the universe. Machshava pshuta, a simple thought. Pshuta sheba pshutim, the simplest of simple. Rabbi Nachman speaks about this a lot. Pashut, just be simple. Don't overanalyze, just simple. Bli hitbonenot ma'imika, without deep contemplation. What does it mean that there's a creator of the universe? What is a creator? There is a time for that, by the way. Hitbonenot is a very important Jewish meditation tool, and you should spend at least 3 minutes a day breathing deeply and contemplating the fact that there happens to be a creator of the universe. That's also important, but that's not what we're doing here. Not doing that here. Rather to live with the most simple point in your mind. And slowly and slowly you're going to start feeling it. Is the most simple thing there is. Yedia, complete conscious awareness. Brura, very clear. Me'od, very, very clear. Sheyesh barei la'olam. This is your practical avoda. I want you to, basically, you're going to need to use your mind to learn Gemara and to speak to people and to help people. You're going to, at some points, you're going to use, your mind is a tool that you need to use. But when you're not using it for something, don't just let it then go. What you should do is switch into Yesh Barei Olam, and imagine the letters Yud and He and Vav and He. Yes, but just walking around like, and I need to use my mind now. Okay, I'll use my mind to get stuff done. But when I stop using it, zoom, screensaver. Yesh Barei Olam, Yesh Barei Olam, Yesh Barei Olam, Yesh Barei Olam. That's what your mind is. Don't let the tool take over the consciousness. You know, there's pneumatic drill things to build the roads. Pneumatic drill, and you're building, and you're making a hole in the road. Imagine you went like this, and every time you had a break, you're like. That's what you do with your mind, you idiot. You got to put it down when you're not using it to do something. Just turn it off at that point. Put it down. I'm not using it now. And fill your mind with Yesh Bari La'olam. Yesh Bari La'olam. Every mezuzah you walk past, Yesh Bari La'olam. Walk past each other and say it to each other. You should help each other. Every time you see, hey, shake someone's hands, Yesh Bari La'olam. Someone's learning, just walk past and whisper in their ear, Yesh Bari La'olam. Do it. As much as you can, all the time. Yesh Bari La'olam. Every mezuzah, every bracha, before you make a bracha, Yesh Bari La'olam. Every time you see a piece of fruit, Yesh Bari La'olam. Every time you see a picture, what do you know for sure if you see a painting? That there's a painter. You know for sure. If you see a painting, you know 100% there is a painter. If you see a building, what do you know for sure? There's a builder. If you see a cake, what do you know for sure? There's a caker. Yeah, don't eat it. There's a baker. When you see a creation, what do you know for sure? There's a creator. Which means every time you see there's a mountain, Yesh Bari La'olam. Wow, you see the sky, Yesh Bari La'olam. Hand, Yesh Bari La'olam. Table made of wood. Wood comes from trees. Trees come from seeds. Seeds come from ground. Ground comes from Hashem. Yesh Bari La'olam. Plastic comes from petrol. Petrol comes from the ground. Ground comes from Hashem. Yesh Bari La'olam. Wool comes from sheep. Sheep come from sheep. Sheep come from sheep. Sheep come from sheep. The first sheep, Yesh Bari La'olam. Your T-shirt comes from China. China comes from Hashem. Yesh Bari La'olam. Yesh Bari La'olam. There's Yesh Bari La'olam. Everything is a Bari La'olam. Metal. Where does metal come from? Rocks. Where do rocks come from? Hashem. Glass. Where does glass come from? Sand. Where does sand come from? The rocks. The rocks come from the earth. Hashem. Yesh Bari La'olam. You go and have lunch today and you see whatever they're serving you for lunch, you'll be like, oh, Yesh Bari La'olam. You see the salad, you're like, wow, where does salad come from? The ground. Where does ground come? Where does it? Yesh Bari La'olam. You should be walking around all day like buzzing, freaking out. Yesh Bari La'olam. Yesh Bari La'olam. And then what actually starts to happen is there are 4 levels of reality. There's domem, tzomeach, chai, and medaber. Mineral, vegetable, animal, human. Mineral, vegetable, animal, human. But after a while, you stop seeing that and you just be like, Yesh Bari La'olam. It's just screaming God. The whole world is saying, Yesh Bari La'olam. You see a desk and you're not like, oh, it's a desk. You're like, Yesh Bari La'olam. The whole experience of life just becomes Yesh Bari La'olam. Creator of the universe. Creator of the universe. Creator of the universe. Creator of the universe. Yesh Bari La'olam. Yesh Bari La'olam. Now then, this is what he says. And therefore, once we do that, then we're going to work from inside out. Once our Machshava, once our thought is pure and clear and strong, then we can purify our guf, our body. Because we'll have more self-control, we'll have more God consciousness. So then we won't want to watch those things, and we won't want to eat those things, and we won't want to do those things, we won't want to say those things. So he says, ideally, how it was before, it's the other way around. We purify our guf, our body, in order to purify our thoughts, but he says we're not on that level, so now we've got to do the opposite. We've got to purify our thoughts first, which seems counterintuitive, because surely your actions are easier to control than your thoughts, as we said yesterday. But he says, seeing as the thoughts is the command center of everything else, he says once you do this, once you have Machshava, Brovara, V'chazaka, Rak, Zaka, V'chazaka, Al she'ed kol haguf tachniya, V'chol chushav tevatel tachteya. Once your thoughts are very strong and shiny and pure, then your body itself submits to it. And even all your senses submit to it. I'm submitting to the who's in control here? Your guf, your body is like a horse. And your mind is like the rider of the horse. So your mind has to control that horse. Don't let it just go off and eat the stuff on the side of the road or run after stuff. You got to keep the horse on going straight. Keep my horse going straight. Good. Ki ha'im kol ish mitkadesh kol gufo pitom. It's just saying no one does it. He said this again yesterday, that sometimes you have very high moments, just on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and third meal, and you have these high holy moments. but it's not sustainable. That's why we just need this consistent purity and strength of thought. That's what I'm doing, by the way. I should suggest you do the same thing. It's really good. Yes, B'Olam. What we could do is a game. Tomorrow, how long after you wake up do you say Yesh B'Olam?
Can you say?
Well, see. Yeah, I think you can. But I challenge you to remember to say it before you wash. It's going to be about 10 o'clock in the morning and you'll be like, oh yeah, Yesh B'Olam. See how quickly you can wake up and be Yesh B'Olam. At least because you're all saying, basically as soon as you wake up, you're saying, good morning Hashem already, no? We spoke about that. Good morning Hashem. Yesh B'Olam. It's all about your thoughts. Purify them. Do 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 do.